David Folkenflik from NPR joins us now on the phone. David, the Murdochs were said to be hesitant about firing Bill O'Reilly because they didn't want it to look like they were forced into a decision. What changed?
What changed was the fact this story refused to go away. What changed is the fact that a number of additional women came forward not seeking money to essentially offer additional accounts of being harassed by Bill O'Reilly, and that the Murdochs faced enduring day after day of headlines that would continue the controversy instead of, as they had hoped, as certainly as Rupert Murdoch hoped, allowing it to dissipate, particularly if he took a few days away from the camera.
Yeah, O'Reilly was expected back from vacation on April 24th. Now he won't get a final show. What does that indicate?
I mean, among other things, it indicates they don't want any messiness. They don't want anybody saying anything unscripted. They want a clean break. They don't want to, if one credits the idea that Bill O'Reilly has serially sexually harassed women in the Fox News workplace, there is something unseemly about saying, let's let this guy end with a grace note on his own perfectly defined terms. And I think Fox News, under Rupert Murdoch, who, after all, is essentially piloting Fox News because he had to dismiss his former hand-picked leader of Fox News, Roger Ailes, for the same accusations of sexual harassment in the workplace. Murdoch just said, let's do a clean break. Let's take care of it. Let's make sure we know we own these airwaves. They don't belong to anybody else but us.
Yeah, well, as you noted, so in less than a year, Fox News Channel has lost both Bill O'Reilly and founding CEO Roger Ailes following sexual harassment allegations, each time paying millions of dollars in settlements. How do you think Fox News is going to be handling allegations like this going forward?
So there's this split screen, right? After Roger Ailes was ousted, and by the way, paid $40 million to leave, which is exactly how I hope to leave someday if I'm fired. After Roger Ailes was ousted, they had named an outside law firm that's done work for them in the past, Paul Weiss, to evaluate complaints of women coming forward. And they essentially were able to substantiate a number of those claims, although Ailes denies all of these allegations. They created a new hotline for women to register complaints about. They created new human resources procedures. They named a brand new executive to oversee human resources who's been called quite professional. They switched out a couple folks like the chief financial officer who had been involved in making secret, essentially hush payments to women who had come forward against O'Reilly and Ailes in the past. So they seem to say we've turned over a new leaf. By the same token, right now you've got to my knowledge, at least two Fox News personalities, one a commentator, Julie Roginski, one a suspended host, Andrea Tantaros, who have lawsuits against Fox News for sexual harassment, naming executives as well in the suits for their failures to handle those accusations adequately, according to the lawsuits. And you have a multi-party lawsuit against Fox News of current and former employees who describe an incredible terrain of racial discrimination and harassment in the workplace that led a few weeks ago, just days before their lawsuit was first filed, to the departure of a very senior financial executive at the network. So, on the one hand, you have the Murdoch saying we're going to handle things expeditiously and respectfully. On the other hand, you have a number of people, all of them women, who have said, actually, we have outstanding grievances that have not been adequately dealt with. And I think that when I've talked to women up and down the hierarchy at Fox News in recent weeks about this issue, they have skepticism that was essentially veering towards cynicism toward how Rupert Murdoch and the Murdoch families have dealt with this. Today's announcement may help to ease that cynicism, but I think that there's a lot left for the Murdochs to prove in terms of their sincerity, even though, just as you pointed out rightly, my God, how much has that face of that network changed? Greta Van Susteren is gone, and she had been caught up in defending Ailes, it turns out, something for which she apologized. Megyn Kelly is gone, and you can be sure that her own accusations against Fox News and the way in which Bill O'Reilly essentially defended the network against her factored in her decision to leave. You've got a number of major departures on and off the air. A lot has happened in just a short time at the nation's highest-rated cable news channel.
Well, in addition to what you just outlined, David, a grand jury was reportedly expected to hear new testimony in a federal investigation into Fox News. What do we know about that case?
That investigation, which was commenced before the Trump administration took full swing, is ongoing. They are talking to people. They are exploring. Their initial point of entry was to see whether or not some of the payments to women who had privately expressed complaints that Roger Ailes and possibly O'Reilly had harassed them, that those payments had been structured in such a way to cloak them from shareholders. The amount of money involved is a ton of money to you and me. $13 million for Bill O'Reilly. Many millions to women prior to last summer's payout of $20 million to Gretchen Carlson. And at the same time, not so much the Fox News bottom line, but there is a legal theory that would argue that even if they weren't huge amounts of money for the profits that Fox generated, they were significant enough red flags that shareholders should know that something is going on in the corporate culture of Fox News, that it is enabling its chairman to engage in behavior found repeatedly objectionable by the people who report to him or work for him, and that didn't happen. It now appears as though this investigation is broadening, that additional witnesses may be brought in to talk who were not necessarily part of that initial class of women who received payments from Ailes that may have been masked. So, this appears to be a live investigation. There's been much speculation about what happens when the Trump administration finally does name a U.S. attorney for the Southern District here in New York City, but that hasn't happened yet, and it seems to be, picking up steam.
A lot of ongoing developments. David Folkenflik, thank you so much.
You bet.